Welcome one and all to the answers video for 25 facts about Alka 1 and N3. At the end of November, on the 26th of November to be exact, I made a video telling you 25 facts about me. Partially because I just wanted you to learn some stuff about me, and partially to play a game, because 5 of those 25 facts were lies. If you have not seen that video and played that game, I will link that game in the description, possibly even put it in an annotation like right here. And you can play that. If you haven't done that, then go do that now, because this is going to spoil it. You doing it in reverse doesn't really help. I'm going to give you the answers and also give a little extra story and explanation on each one. Alright, let's do this. First one. I have played both korfball and tennis. That is true. I have played both. Korfball is a sport that isn't too well known around the world. It is a sport that's mostly practiced in Belgium and the Netherlands, and well, I never lived in the Netherlands. And I've played it for, was it 6, 7 years? I started with tennis, I believe, like 1.5 years later, but I quit that a bit later as well. Currently, I'm not practicing any sport. I did play both korfball and tennis for quite some time. Even won one tennis tournament, which was great. Fact number 2. At the moment, I have one brother. That is true. And I was very specific with at the moment. Not because my mother is pregnant, or because we're going to adopt another brother or sister, no. But I did have a foster brother for about 5 years or so. Not anymore. So that's why at the moment I have one brother. I have one younger brother who's almost 3.5 years younger than me. Fact number 3. My favorite Pokemon is Kolava. There's a reason it's right here on my computer. Yes, Kolava is my favorite Pokemon. Fact number 3 is true. Fact number 4. When I was young, and this was when I was 4, I always mixed up the colors pink and purple. That is also true. I could not, for the life of me, however that expression goes, I could not get pink called pink and purple called purple. I was convinced that purple was pink and that pink was purple. When I got this, I got this kind of certificate when I was in like the first year of primary school. So when I was still 4, I believe, this some certificate because I did something, and I made it, and like I showed it to my mom, and she was like, "What's that? What's that color?" And it was either pink or purple. Let's say it was purple. She said, "Ah, I like that's pink. No, that's purple. No, mom, that is pink." Because I was convinced it was, even though it was purple. I just mixed them up all the time. It took a while to actually get used to it. Fact number 5. I don't like chocolate, yet I eat it almost every day. That's also true. We still haven't had a lie. I don't really like chocolate, yet I eat it almost every day. Yes, because, well, in the Netherlands, like, I've learned that you don't really have it in a lot of other countries. We have chocolate sprinkles. Just pretty much these tiny bits of chocolate where you sprinkle over your bread. There's bread, butter, chocolate sprinkles. That's often how it's done. And it's a quick way of preparing bread, and I quite like the taste. Not, I suppose, my top favorite, but I quite like it. And generally, I just make that in the morning, and generally, I also make a few of those to take with me to school to have for lunch there. It's not necessarily all that I eat. I also eat bread with like cheese or maybe with peanut butter every now and then, with strawberry jam. But chocolate sprinkles is something that I do eat quite a bit on bread. So therefore, I eat it quite a bit. I eat it almost every day. But then again, if in any other way, like a Mars bar or Twix, I do like that. Twix I like more than the Mars bar, but things like a Bounty or a Snickers or however many candies or like chocolate bars like that you have, I don't like them. I just like Mars and Twix. Um, and then you have these chocolate letters, like we have it because St. Nicholas here in the Netherlands. I don't know how else you'd really have it, but I don't really like them at all. Maybe like chocolate bunnies during Easter. You might have those. I don't like them either. Yet I eat chocolate almost every day. That's just how it is. Fact number 6. I have hay fever. True. It is a very mild form of hay fever, but it is there. Number 7. This year, I've always had my Nintendo 3DS with me when I'm at college. And with this year, I meant the school year of 2015-2016. I did mean 2015, so I probably wasn't very exact with that in the video. I meant 2015-2016, and that is true. In this school year so far, always when I went to college, I've always had my 3DS with me. I just entertain myself, like with my 3DS. Like I play games while on the train, on the metro. Sometimes, like when I arrive at school really early, I'd play some games, or I talk to like classmates. But sometimes I'd also play games. And in the break, when I just don't really feel like talking to others, I just feel like being somewhere alone, I could also play games because I like video games. Number 8. I speak fluent Dutch, English, and German. That's the first lie. I speak fluent English. You've seen my videos. Sure, there's a few terms and expressions that I don't really know, but I'd say I speak fluent English. I speak fluent Dutch. I live in the Netherlands. Dutch is the language. I don't have a problem at all speaking it. German, though, I don't speak it fluently. I speak it a bit. It was my best out of German, French, and Spanish during secondary school, which is why I chose for German. I also liked it the most. And even though I improved over the years, like the final 3 years of secondary school that I did take German class, I wasn't as good with it. As like I didn't improve as well as most of my other classmates. So after secondary school ended, I didn't really do much more with German because I didn't really care. For me, it was like an extra thing that I had to do because school rules. You had to take one extra language next to Dutch and English, and I took German, but like I believe I just passed the exam. Yeah, or something. But I didn't really care after. I wasn't really planning to do anything with any other language in Dutch or English, except Japanese. But they didn't teach Japanese, so I'll do that another way. Um, Fact number 9. I only own gaming consoles from Nintendo. That is true. It started with a Game Boy Color when we were on our holiday to France. Like, we had played on emulators before, my brother and I. And this was when I was 10, 11, something like that. I believe Gold and Silver were out, or even Crystal. Yeah, I think Crystal had been out for like a year or so back then. I don't remember. Pretty sure Crystal was out. We played on emulators. We loved Pokemon the TV show, like the games and the emulators, but we never actually like had an actual handheld in our hands to play the game. And then during one of the stops at some kind of petrol station on our way to France, my dad just handed us 2 Game Boy Colors with Pokemon Gold for my brother and Pokemon Crystal for me. And we were like, "What? Thanks? What? Awesome!" And then we played that because apparently he made a deal with 2 of our friends that we did not have a clue about, like 2 of our best friends. They both made allowed their Game Boy Colors to be borrowed, and one of the friends allowed, well, lent my dad both the Golden Crystal so we could play them because we loved it. And because we loved it so much and played it so much throughout the entire holiday, my dad actually bought them off of the guys because they didn't really play it themselves much anymore anyway. So yeah, they bought them for us, and that's it. So that's how it started. Long story there. That should be an Hauke short story. Anyway, I have a Game Boy Advance. My brother has a Game Boy Advance Speed, but that doesn't count because we're talking about mine. Regular Nintendo DS, unfortunately broken. 3DS, a Wii, a Wii U, and a Nintendo 64. All Nintendo consoles. My brother does have a PlayStation 2 and an Xbox 360, which were bought, like the PlayStation 2 he's had for like almost 2 years now, and Xbox 360 for like half a year, I think. So he has those, but those aren't mine. I only own gaming consoles from Nintendo. Number 10. In one of my fantasy worlds, I'm the world champion in martial arts. True. In one of my fantasy worlds, because I have many. Sometimes I like to entertain myself in a fantasy world. And like generally, like I know that when I go to bed just to go sleep, generally it takes at least 15 minutes for me to actually fall asleep. So what I do is I'd entertain myself until those 15 minutes are over. So generally I just go into my fantasy world. I'm in one of the fantasy worlds. I'm a world champion in martial arts, and I'm good friends with Goku. In another one, I live in the Pokemon world, and I'm the fire type gym leader of Solaceon Town in Sinnoh. Yeah. I have fantasy world and I love it. I definitely keep myself entertained that way. It's sort of like I really like writing Yu-Gi-Oh! Burst and coming up with ideas for it. There's also sort of like this. I like coming up with fantasy stories, but especially about things that couldn't really happen in real life. Like Pokemon. I don't see that happening in real life ever, but I like coming up with the story, which is great. Yeah, and one of them, I'm the world champion in martial arts. I've that title's been taken from me a few times. Once by Goku, once by like a few times by Goku, once by Teammate. I'm pretty sure last time we got it back. Although I haven't been in that fantasy world for some time. I've generally been in the Pokemon one. Anyway, next one. Fact number 11. I've once pushed my brother so hard that he fell with his teeth on a glass table, making one of the teeth go from white and yellow to gray. That is true. It was I don't remember how long ago it was before my brother's baby teeth all. Well, my brother had lost barely any, if any, baby teeth. Probably, if no, he'd probably have lost like two or three at the time. We were at our babysitter's house, and they had a glass table, and I was just really annoyed at him for whatever reason. I don't remember why. And I didn't specifically push him towards the glass table, but I pushed him real hard, and he happened to trip or fall or whatever, or lose his balance, and he fell with his teeth right on the edge of the glass table. And after a little bit, the tooth turned gray. It didn't fall out; it just stayed gray. Dentist, I believe, just let it be there because it wasn't necessarily infecting anything. There were certain connections that to the tooth that were cut or whatever. I don't really remember, but like it was yet to fall out that tooth, so we just let that happen. And I'm pretty sure we'd still have it stored somewhere. I don't remember where. My brother or my parents will probably know. Yeah, my brother wasn't too happy about that. Fact number 12. I've once worn a pink dress with flowers on it while many people were able to see me. True. And this is, I believe, one of the ones that my best friend definitely, Sab, who definitely would have gotten this right. Because he knows I do theater and I really love that. So if you know that, then chances are this happened in theater. Yeah, it happened in theater. It was when the first year of secondary school. So I'll have been 12, 13 then, because I turned 13 that year. Um, and we had a play. Oh, what's the English name for this girl? Assapuster. What's Assapuster's? Cinderella? Is it Cinderella? I think it's Cinderella. Come on. Yep, it's Cinderella. Okay, so we were playing Cinderella in that show. It was like I was one of the oldest ones, and then it was like people of like 2, 3 years younger than me were the youngest ones. So my brother was there, and like one of his good friends from school was there, like one of the guys, and so we had about 3 guys and like 7, 8 girls. In the play, there were 2 male roles. The rest were all female, and my brother was the butler, one of the male roles, and my brother's friend, who was also a guy, he was the prince. 2 male roles filled. What about the other guy? I was the stepmom. I was Cinderella's stepmom. Why not? I didn't mind. I didn't care. I didn't mind doing it. So I got my mother's pink flower dress and put that on. That was fun. The thing is, eventually, like I believe, like a week or just over a week before that show actually happened, um, that friend who was playing the prince actually had to quit for whatever reason. But we had practiced and like divided the roles in a way that we couldn't really make me the prince because that wouldn't work with changing clothes and making sense of other things. So what we did was my brother, who was the butler, pretty much had his prince clothes under his butler clothes. So when he went off stage as the butler, because the butler and the prince only appeared on stage together for a very brief moment, just before the debut of the as the prince had his debut, the butler went off, and the butler didn't really have to be seen back. Like he'd come back at the end, but that wasn't really important. So we took that part out. And my brother just went like, Prince! Went off, took off his butler clothes like in a few seconds, came back on and was the prince. We just had to work with that, and we just had to, the people believe it. That was about it. Yeah, I was stepmom. But Fact 13, my favorite singer is Shakira. That is the second lie. I have a definite favorite band, which is Jam Project, a Japanese band. A favorite singer, I do not have a specific one. So that already makes Shakira not my favorite singer. I definitely like Shakira, but she's not my favorite. Because one, I don't really have a favorite, and there's a few singers that I like a bit more than a Shakira. Fact 14. When I was young, and this was like 1 through 9 years old for me approximately, I don't really remember, but when I was young, we had a rabbit that disliked carrots. That is true. The rabbit did not want carrots. It would just instead walk around the garden, and we had these very specific small pink, no, pink, I said purple, they're purple outcome, no, purple flowers that the rabbit would always eat out of the garden, and I would love seeing the rabbit do that. I would often pluck some of the flowers and give it to the rabbit. That was really cute. I love that. 15. My favorite food is tandoori chicken. That is true. It's been my favorite food for quite some time. Macaroni has been on my top 3 list for so long, but tandoori chicken a few years ago, when I first had that, I think, took over. Macaroni is still my second, and that's many kinds of macaroni that I like. But tandoori chicken is my favorite. And when I have the choice to get something, I quite often get tandoori chicken. 16. I've only been to the hairdresser 3 times in my life. I think that quite a few people who have done the test will have gotten this one correct, because this is a lie. However, the way that it is a lie is probably what people don't get, because people think, 3 times, that's far too few. It's too many. I've only been twice. Because ever since I was a little baby, my grandmother's always done it. My grandmother has always cut my hair. 1, because she liked it, and 2, because, well, we liked it, and it also saved us money. So yeah, that. She never had a full diploma as a hairdresser, but she just really liked doing it. She had the materials, so why not? She did pass away in March, so it was somewhere January that went to the hairdresser, and then again in September that I went again. Those will have been the 2 times that I went to the hairdresser and not to her. And my mom, she can do it, but she doesn't really trust herself in the most details that my grandmother did feel comfortable with doing, that she isn't afraid of messing up. So that's why I do go to hairdresser now and not have my mom do it, because she doesn't really want it. Fact number 17. I have the kids I teach, and these are all around 8 years old, drop eggs out of the window onto the school's playground from the 2nd floor. And that's a UK system 2nd floor. UK has ground floor, 1st floor, 2nd floor. American system, that's 3rd floor. It's true. The idea was that we did a lot of tests with eggs and how strong an egg is, and I explained a bit about that. And then the idea was for the kids to, with certain materials I gave them, a few handkerchiefs, not handkerchiefs, but things like it, a few little tiny wooden sticks, a piece of rope, a few elastic bands, I think, a plastic bag, and one other thing. They had to make a construction with that egg included in the construction, and then somehow make sure that the egg could fall from a high place onto the ground, onto a hard ground, and not break. And so I asked them, what is high? So they were like, approximately this high, or when you stand on the table. And I was like, so that's approximately 2 meters. Yeah, okay, no. We started, before they started making stuff, it was 2 meters. So at the end of the lesson, they'd all finished their constructions. And I was like, okay, so how are we going to test this? And most of them were like, yeah, from 2 meters, or you stand on the thing, or whatever. Okay. I was hoping they'd come with something else, because we were on the 2nd floor. Once again, 3rd floor, American system, our classroom. So, but I had already come up with this before the lesson with the other teacher of the class. And what I did, I just went I was like, okay, so we do it from 2 meters high. Okay. While I said that, I walked to the window. And let's say the window is, well, the class is there, where you are now, right now, and the window is there. I came from here, walked up to the window, looked a bit outside, and said, "Why don't we just make it fall right out here?" And most of the kids were like, "Yeah, do that! Yes, yes, that's fun, that's crazy, yeah, do it!" I was like, "Okay, well, let's do that." So one of every group I kept with me in the classroom. The other teacher went onto the school's playground with the rest at a safe distance, because we did talk about that as well. And we just had them drop them from that high. None of the X survived, unfortunately, but it was a lot of fun. It was great. Yeah, that was good. Fact 18. My first ever YouTube video was a Christmas-themed commercial. And I asked you to not cheat by trying to find my first video. Everyone who did cheat very likely got this one wrong, because it's true. Because the first video you'll find on my YouTube channel is not Christmas themed. Because the Christmas themed commercial has been deleted. I made my YouTube account back in 2007 just to subscribe to a few people whose videos that I liked. And I was like, I want to make some videos too, but I don't really know what, so I found these two random videos that I downloaded or something, to Christmas commercials, one of which was really bad quality, and I just uploaded them to have something. And eventually I just did some random gaming stuff like Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, and like the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Academy, and like a Metabots intro video. I don't like those are like the first few videos that I made, I believe, like to actually stay on the channel, which are still there. I was one of the first few, and then I deleted the commercials because they're like, one of them was French, or even both. One of them was sucky quality. They didn't have anything to do with my channel, that what I wanted to do with it. They were just there to be there. So I deleted them, but they were the first two YouTube videos, two Christmas themed commercials. Fact number 19. I've never played Mortal Kombat. That is true. I don't really like a lot of fighting games, especially not fighting games where you have to remember a lot of button combos. So Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. But out of those three specifically, Mortal Kombat's the only one that I've never played. I've definitely seen people play it, and it looks good, but I don't really enjoy playing those games. I did get Street Fighter a chance when I got when the 3DS was only just out here in the Netherlands, because Super Street Fighter 4 3D was one of the launch titles. So I was like, okay, there aren't really any great launch titles that we want to play, so I thought I'd give Street Fighter a try. And I played it for a little while, but grew bored of it quite quickly, unfortunately. But that's how it is. I didn't really enjoy Super Street Fighter that much. And Tekken, I did play. Well, this was like Tekken 2, I think, or something, at my neighbor's house when I was still in primary school, I think. Something like that. Yoshimitsu all the way. Yoshimitsu, best character. Yeah, I played it at their house sometimes. I don't actually own it in any Tekken games myself. Fact number 20. I like to say the words microphone, spoon, and wire. That's a lie. I can speak them, I can say them, but I don't have a clear like for those words. There's a few other words that I do like. Blade, I like to say blade. I like to say laser and beam, therefore laser beam. What are some other words that I like saying? Fancy. I like to say the word fancy, I say that quite a bit. So, those are words like blade, laser beam, fancy. If I would have said those three words, it would have been true. But microphone, spoon, wire, I don't have a clear like for any of them. Fact 21. My favorite subjects at school are English and mathematics. True. I've always really liked English, and I've been good at it, and I still am, and I'm definitely looking forward to next year in college when I'm finally going to have English lessons. Certainly, it'll mostly be stuff that I already know, because it's about how to teach English to primary school students. But it's English nonetheless, and I really like English. So that. And mathematics, I've liked mathematics, and I was good at it, while generally mathematics is seen as difficult and annoying, and I sort of felt the opposite about it, and I still do. And yeah, English mathematics, my favorite. 22. I have Belgian grandparents. I believe in primary school I once told one or two kids that was the case. It's not. All my grandparents are pure Dutch, all from the Netherlands. No Belgian ones. So this is a lie. Those are the 5 lies, by the way. But there's 3 more facts left, which are all true. And I'll give you the stories. Fact 23. I once while scared of it, jumped off a 7.5 meter high diving board, yelling, "For Mudkip!" This will probably have been at the time that the third generation of Pokemon was on TV and the fourth gen was not yet a thing. We were on holiday, I don't remember where, but I was quite afraid of heights and I didn't really dare going off any higher diving board than 3 meters. I already did the 5, and there was a 7.5 meter one at the pool, and I was like, just before we left, I was like, I do want to try it, I dare it, I think so, I want to try it. So went up there, I didn't really dare it. But then I had Mudkip in my mind, how that was my favorite Pokemon at the time. And I was like, Mudkip is a water Pokemon, I'll do it for Mudkip. And I seriously, that's what motivated me to jump off that diving board. I didn't like the jump, but like the feeling you get in your body when you have that speed, when you like just fall down thin air. Well, just fall down. I didn't really hit the water that well, it just hurt me a bit, although I didn't land on my stomach or anything, but I had a pretty good landing, but it still hurt me a bit, and that I didn't like, and the feeling of just falling there, I didn't like. I also don't like going in roller coasters, by the way. But Mudkip being my favorite Pokemon and being a water type, I yelled for Mudkip, and that literally was the motivation for me to jump down. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. Fact 24: I pee while sitting down. True. I like as a guy, I did start. Well, when I wasn't a baby anymore, I did pee while standing up. But then later, I learned that sitting down is like you can aim easier and stuff. But at first I felt weird doing it because you only sit down and you poo when you go there to poo. And I was like, why do you pee when sitting down? That's weird. But then I got used to it, and it's generally cleaner. It's easier to aim. And like some people, like some kids at school, are like, oh, that's weird. Oh, you pee when sitting down, but it's cleaner and easier. So why not? I pee while sitting down. Final fact: I've once stolen a calculator from a church. You already know it's true. I literally did. Not like a calculator where you go like 23.375 times 7.46 minus 25 divided by 4.23. Not a calculator that does things like that. It was a different kind. It was around 2001, it will have been. Before we had the euro in the Netherlands and in most of Europe, here in the Netherlands we had the currency called the gulden. And we had about over half year, where we could pay with both the gulden and with the euro, just so we could all get used to the new currency. And so there were calculators out there that were able to calculate from gulden to euro, from euro to gulden, and about how much one of, let's say, the gulden is worth in euros, and the other way around. You could just type in a certain amount in the calculator, and it'd give you the amount that it's worth in the other currency. And like my parents sang in a church choir, and they still do. And almost every Sunday they would sing, and I would come with them. But then, like for the kids, they didn't have to stay during the entire thing. So they'd always have like a separate room for like some of the kids that came along, so they could play games or be taught things on kids level. And sometimes like we'd have games, and like among those games and things, there was this little calculator, and I liked it. And so at the end of the day, when I was just getting my coat from that room, I noticed no one else was there, and one of the few things still lying on the table was that calculator. There was no one else in the room, so it just slipped out of my pocket. I don't remember where it's now. Pretty sure I like threw it away or gave it away or whatever. But I did steal the calculator from a church, and I'm pretty darn sure I never gave it back. I may have? I don't actually know. I don't know what I did with it. But I did steal that calculator from church. Yeah. Which is bad. You don't steal, but yeah, I stole. Right, that was it. Those were the 25 facts with the answers. This was a dang long video because I just, I like talking, and I decided to give you explanations for all of them. So yeah, that's about it. If you want to have another video with 25 facts, let me know, and I may do one more at some point in the future. I don't know exactly when, but then I'll do it if I have enough positive reactions, and if not, well, I hope you enjoyed this game and learning more about myself. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.